watching what the NI is trying to do. NI is like, oh, I heard your facts. Nice facts. Let me consider your facts. Now, most of the time, they just bounce off the guy's head. They're like, yeah, I'm not listening. I don't care. But if the facts make it in, it's like, okay, I've seen this concept before. I saw Syria. I've seen Ukraine. So I've seen this concept. This is in my known information, my known pattern. Now, it's like a crab or green eggs and ham. It's like, how do you get a new thing into an IJ? It's like, oh, you don't. But somehow, if it ever does, like once it's in, you can't get it out. Isn't that weird? And so it's just loading the same program and all the other random SE of, the fucking problem with your mom and all that. Like, don't care. And that's why they're not listening. Like, no, not listening. But now if you're talking about this, I'm listening. And then the NI gets more and more. You get all the SE. It starts to kind of fill. That's where you kind of get on this thing of like, all right, I get some predictability. I get my head around the whole thing, right? And then, people be like, hey, more SE. You're like, no thanks, right? Because what the NI is responsible to do is keep all that random SE out. Like, I don't need to know everything about everything, because the fear is, oh my gosh, there's too much that's coming. And now this is where the NI feels very scared. And therefore, if literally something like war happens, where it's like people are like parachuting out of the fucking sky, you're like, okay, I didn't see this coming. And then you get that fear of the SE shock. That's the scariest thing for the NIs, which is why they'll then come back around and attack their greatest fear. Their greatest fear largely is war. Why? Because of the things of like sensory, tanks, airplanes, people, change, like sensory itself. You know what I'm saying? Like if my neighbor gets a new car, especially if it's like a bright color, like I am having to process, I'll be like dreaming about it. Like it'll take me several weeks to adapt to the new sensory. Sounds weird, right? But like you've got a fourth function, also weird, right? So all that run up, watch these clips here. You're gonna see a very nice, calm INTJ guy. And I think he's doing it in a rather balanced way where he's not making his life, he's not living in the woods. He's still living in the city. He still has a family. He still works down at the college. But he's also like, guys, can you not feel this coming?
We are taking the warm-ups now, and it's what we call the double tap. So it means 2 shots. It's really important because you have to be sure the guy is down. From my point of view, Terran City is very difficult to conquer because you have a multiple building heights. As you can see around here, snipers can be higher ground, and you can put the RPG there on the 10-story height. Small, narrow streets. So if any invaders comes in, if the civilians are trained for urban warfare, the invaders will get into serious problems.
So here's where NI gets into trouble. He's sitting there driving, doing imaginary situations. He's like, okay, so RPG, and it's like, hey, guess what? Guess what I found in my old age? It doesn't ever play out how you imagine. Now, if you can plan for the unplannable, now you're moving.
Last year, I started revising on what I have learned during my military national service times. I started to search for professional help, taking up medical first aid response, as well as combat training. It is really propelled by Ukraine being invaded by Russia. We can see a similar pattern being repeated here. Chinese military maneuvers are getting more prepared, but we still don't know when it's going to happen.
See what I'm saying? He's going back to, okay, I've had green eggs and ham before. I've had military, so there's some sensory that got into my worldview when I was younger. And I'm seeing things in Ukraine, I'm seeing the pattern, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna double down on this sensory. This is the exact image I just fucking did here. Okay, I need some more of that. I need some more military training because I see the same pattern coming.
I think my colleagues are not much aware of what I do.
Right.
Really, it's not what my everyday jobs would like to see.
And Bruce Wayne.
But my family, they support, they also worry. I like this kind of sound quality.
Why is his
My
jacket
students,
so big?
they know. I've been having conversation.
Okay.
I've been asking them, are you all concerned about what's coming up? What is going to be impact on our home? The students are worried. They are aware.
What's cool about this guy is that he's still got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. He's still grounded in reality. What's great about the guy is that he's not going nuts about it. Like you can see it in his calm state. You can see that he's doing it after work. You can see that he's doing it with his buddies. Here, watch this.
Right, all set. If something happens, this is how I will run out from the university.
Bug out bag.
Hello. 带记者来了。你有机会练你的英文了。God damn.